Fed up with the everyday grind? Tired out from the summer heat? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are trapped in a remote valley in the Andes, walled in by sheer rock precipices, and surrounding you, closing in on you, is a band of blind men who want your eyes.
Tonight, we escape to the mountains of Ecuador and to a remarkable world where sight is unknown, as H.G. Wells imagined it in his gripping story, The Country of the Blind.
My name is Ibarra. I'm a mining engineer in Quito, Ecuador, high in the towering Andes. Up until a year ago, my chief sport was mountain climbing. My last climb was an attempt to scale the remote and forbidding peak of Pariscotopetl, a 20,000-foot crag unconquered by man. It is unconquered still. 3,000 feet from the icy summit, we turned back and fled for our lives. All of us escaped, except one, a guide named Nunez, who slipped over the frightful precipice and disappeared in the vast chasm, yawning 10,000 feet beneath us. The horror of that man's fall has terrorized my dreams for a year. Because of it, I've forsaken mountain climbing for the rest of my life. And that decision still stands, even though today I have seen Nunez. He was sitting on the steps at my shack when I arrived at the mine this morning. At first, I didn't recognize him. He was so much changed. I thought he was some weird, ragged beggar.
Is it you, Senor Ibarra?
My name is Ibarra, yes. What do you want?
You do not know me, senor.
No? Well, you look like a man I knew once, but he's...
He is dead. Dead on the slopes of Pariscotopetl.
Nunez. Oh, no, it couldn't be.
Nunez, that is my name, senor. At least that is the name I remember.
But you fell. I saw you fall.
Yes.
But it's impossible that you could have lived.
Perhaps the gods of the mountain had some reason to spare me.
Nunez, if we'd had any idea that you were alive, but you went down thousands of feet. We couldn't even attempt to find your body.
I know. I do not blame you. You could not have reached me, and if you had, I should not have welcomed you at first. But then, later...
Yes, what do you mean?
Senor, you will not believe what I have to tell.
I can hardly believe that I'm seeing you, Nunez, and talking to you.
You remember that night, the night I fell?
Yes, of course.
We had been toiling all day, inching our way up a steep ice wall, and as darkness came, we found a narrow ledge, barely 3 feet wide.
It's not very wide, but we can get our shelter wall up. Cut off some of this wind.
Well, that will be welcome.
Yes.
But first we'll rest a moment.
Oh, look at that icy devil up there, glistening in the moonlight.
Yes. There's another 3,000 feet of sheer ice wall. We'll have to cut our own holes from now on. Won't even be ledges like this for resting places.
Well, I can see why no one's ever made it. Do you think we should go on?
I don't know. Nunez, what do you think?
It is not my place to say, senor. I was hired to go to the top. I agreed.
But what do you really think?
If I believed in the gods of the mountain as the Indians do, I should be frightened now.
Why?
Because we have invaded the Forbidden Circle. This part of the Andes is unmapped and almost unknown, senor. It is an easy thing to believe strange things in this white loneliness.
Some of the legends, fascinating. I've heard of one, something about A hidden valley called the Country of the Blind.
Yes. See? It is supposed to be somewhere down there, below us. A fertile valley which was settled many centuries ago and then cut off by the great landslide of Araka.
Yes, but why the Country of the Blind?
Even before it was cut off, the people developed a strange illness. All of them slowly went blind, and after that their children were born blind. The legend is that the valley was the home of the mountain gods. It was too beautiful for human eyes.
It's odd. But then, of course, it's all nonsense.
Yes, of course.
It would be pleasant to find it, though. You know the old proverb, in the country of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
I doubt if we should ever find it. I even doubt if it exists.
Of course not. I was only joking.
Yes. Now, if you're rested, we'll make the shelter wall.
Righto. I'll give you a hand in a moment. Believe me, Ibarra, for 2 pesos, I'd give up this climb. I never realized...
Senor! I'm slipping! I fell perhaps 1,000 feet, and then I felt the heavy stinging impact of snow. I'd fallen onto an almost perpendicular slope, and once again I was sliding down, tumbling over and over. But now under me, around me, over me, an immense avalanche of snow was rumbling, sliding with me. Suddenly I realized that my own motion had almost stopped, and it was the snow that was moving. I was riding the avalanche. And at almost the same moment I went over the second precipice. It was higher than the first, much higher, perhaps 4,000 feet. I fell with the snow for what seemed minutes every second, expecting the terrible final impact, but the impact never came. Miracle of miracles, that sheer wall blended almost imperceptibly into another steep slope, and again I was sliding. And gradually, as the arc of the slope curved away, I felt myself slow down. I was whirled along on top of the avalanche, and then, as it subsided out onto the gentler snow upon a gentler slope. And finally, I rolled to a stop and lay still. When I awoke, it was morning, and I was covered with snow. I shook off the cold, white blanket rolled over on my back and looked up. My heart almost stopped as I saw from where I'd fallen. The mountain towered 10,000 feet above me. Carefully, I felt myself. My clothes were torn. I was bruised and bleeding. I ached in every muscle, but I had not a single broken bone. I lay there and offered up a prayer to the gods of the mountain. Far below me lay a lush valley sparkling in the morning sunlight. I could see the stately trees and green meadows fresh with dew. I started down, but it was still an arduous descent. The farther down I got, the more I realized the beauty of the scene. Why, this was a hidden paradise I'd fallen into, and I was the first man ever to see it. So I thought. But I was wrong. I realized that first when I saw the cultivation in the meadows, and then the walks, well-kept stone walks laid in a symmetrical pattern all over the valley. And then I saw them. There were men and women lying under the trees, resting. Nearby, a collection of windowless huts marked a village, and the plastering of the houses was done in a wild variety of colors. I thought to myself, the plasterer who did that must have been blind as a bat. Then I saw the 2 men who were quite close to me. They were standing on a bridge over the little stream. They were dressed in odd, loose clothing, and there was a strange look about their faces. They failed to notice me as I approached until I shouted, and suddenly they looked up attentively in my direction. I waved wildly at them, but they took no notice. Why, the fools must be blind. Blind? Could it be I'd fallen into the legendary country of the blind? In the country of the blind, a one-eyed man is king. Hello there.
It is a man, or a spirit come down from the rocks.
Oh, I'm a man, all right, just like you, but I've had a miraculous escape, and now I find myself here in your valley.
Valley? Valley?
Come hither. Let me feel of you.
Certainly, here, my arm and my face. You see, I'm indeed a man like yourself. My lips move with speech. You feel... careful there. Gently on the eyes.
Eyes?
That is strange. Feel this, Correa.
Yes, I feel.
Careful, you feel the eyelids flutter?
He is but imperfectly formed. Some strange bulge there. Unseemly.
No, your eyes are shrunken in, but mine are whole. I can see.
See? Pedro, he's a strange wild one. Where does he come from?
Down out of the rock.
No, from over the mountains, out of the country beyond there, where men can see. From Bogota, where there are 100,000 people and the city stretches out of sight.
Sight? What strange words he uses, without meaning. And feel the coarseness of his hair, like a llama's.
Ugh. And you have come into the world.
Into? Why, no, out of the world. The big world beyond the mountains. The world that stretches 12 days' journey to the sea.
Our fathers have told us men may be made by forces of nature. It is the warmth of things, and moisture, and rottenness.
Let us lead him to the elders.
You don't have to lead me. I can see.
See?
Yes, of course. I didn't see your water bucket.
His senses are still imperfect. He stumbles and talks meaningless words. Lead him by the hand.
But look, Oh, well, all right. These people had been blind for centuries. They'd forgotten even the words associated with seeing, and they thought I was an idiot, only half-formed. Especially when they led me into the pitch blackness of one of their windowless huts and I stumbled over someone else.
Oh, 1,000 pardons, Medina Sarote. He is a clumsy one.
I'm sorry. I fell down. I couldn't see in the darkness.
Who is this? And what is he saying?
He is but newly formed. He has come down from the rocks. He stumbles as he walks and mingles words that mean nothing with his speech.
He is a wild man out of the rocks.
No, I come from Bogota, over the mountains.
You hear? Bogota. He uses wild words. His mind is hardly formed. He has only the beginnings of speech.
Bogota.
Yes. I come from the great world where men have eyes and see.
That must be his name, Bogota.
He stumbled twice as we came thither.
He must be taught.
No. Don't you understand? I can see, but not in the dark. To you, darkness or light is all the same, but to me, to us outside in the world beyond the mountains...
Mountains? What are mountains?
Oh, very well, then beyond the rocks.
There is nothing beyond the rocks. That is the end of the world.
But surely you must realize the sky above covers more than this valley.
There is nothing above but the roof of rock. He is very raw, my children. He shall have to be taught from the beginnings. Take him away, feed him. But guide him, see that he does not stumble over my daughter again.
Do not fear, Father. I shall guide him myself and feed him.
Very well.
Come, take my hand.
Thank you. It'll be a pleasure to get outside again, out of this darkness.
Come this way.
Yes. What is your name?
Medina Sarote.
Medina Sarote. Mine is Juan Nunez, and... Oh, sunlight. Oh, this is better. And now Senorita. You're beautiful. I cannot tell what a wonderful thing you are to see.
Please, I'm afraid for you.
Afraid?
Yes. If you do not learn quickly and cease speaking such strange words, they may not be so kind to you. They might be angry. They might even destroy you.
This thought had not occurred to me before, and suddenly I had a twinge of fear. Still the proverb kept running through my mind. In the country of the blind, a one-eyed man is king. But try as I would, I could not make them understand my wonderful gift of sight. They simply could not comprehend it. Worse, they were not impressed. They thought me stupid and untaught, almost an idiot. Day by day I learned their peaceful ways, but they could not learn mine. It was getting on my nerves, and theirs too, perhaps.
Bogota, come hither. Bogota, you move not.
No, and I won't, you old beetle. I'll show you. I'll leave the path and...
Bogota, trample not on the grass. It's not allowed.
How did you know I stepped on the grass?
I heard, of course.
Heard, but I didn't make a sound.
Why do you not come when I call you? Can you not hear the path as you walk?
I can see it.
There is no such word as see. Cease this folly and follow the sound of my feet.
Oh, my time will come.
You will learn. There is much to learn in the world.
Has no one ever told you in the country of the blind the one-eyed man is king?
Blind? What is blind?
Oh, never mind. Go on.
Bogota, I must warn you. Just keep quiet and learn. And stop this nonsense about seeing.
Nonsense, is it? I'll show you. I've taken enough of your insults. Unformed mind, got no sense. I'll be king here. I can see, and I'll be king.
Bogota, stop it.
No, I'm through with your orders. I'll show you what an advantage sight can be. I can hit you, hurt you, and you can't see me to strike back.
Bogota, put down that spade.
You devil, your ears are sharp, aren't they? But it won't do you any good now. I'll show you. I'll strike. No, I can't do it. I cannot hit a blind man.
Bogota, pick up that spade. Do not leave it lying on the walk. Someone might stumble.
Pick it up yourself.
Do as I say.
Take your hands off me. Take them off.
Bogota! Bogota! Stop!
I finally lost my temper and shoved him over and ran. The next half hour was a nightmare. Before I reached the fields, they were following me, 20 or more of them, armed with sticks and spades, fanning out across the meadows, following my trail like bloodhounds. At first, I wanted to laugh, but on they came, swift, inexorable, and the laugh froze in my throat. They didn't need eyes. They could smell me, feel my trail. On they came, closer and closer, encircling me, closing in.
Bogota! Bogota, there must be no violence. You must come peacefully.
By heaven, I'll hit you if you come any closer. I swear I will.
Bogota.
You don't understand. You are blind. I can see. I can see.
Grab him.
I'll hurt you. I swear I will. Leave me alone. I hit his arm, turned and ran over the wall outside the valley, back to the rocks, to the precipitous cliff I'd come down. But when I reached that sheer rock wall, I knew there was no place to go. For 2 days and nights I stayed outside the valley, hungry and cold, and then I realized the hopelessness of my position. I was trapped. I must spend the rest of my life here. There was no way out. So I went back. I confess I was mad. I admit I was only newly formed.
That is better. And do you still think you can see?
No, that was folly. The word means nothing. Less than nothing.
And what means overhead?
Rock is the overhead. There is a roof above the world, a roof of rock and very smooth.
Very well. Now...
Before you ask me any more, please, give me food or I shall die.
Very well. Give him food.
I shall.
And after that, give him the most menial tasks in the village. Guard him well, and perhaps he shall learn yet.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, that is better. You are kind, Medina Cerote. Very kind.
I am glad you came back.
You are? If they were all like you, I should never have run away.
What was that word you said I was?
Beautiful.
It means something nice.
Oh, something very nice. Medina Cerote, why is it you have no husband?
I have a disfigurement. These long hairs.
Your eyelashes. Oh, but they're beautiful.
They're considered a disfigurement.
Oh, you're the most lovely girl in the valley, but they wouldn't know, would they? And so you have no lover?
No.
Medina Cerote, what do you think of me? Do you think of me as an idiot like all the rest?
No. You have much to learn, but You will learn it, I'm sure. And you are kind and gentle. And your voice is soft. You speak the words that are soft and warm. No one has ever spoken such words to me.
Then I shall speak them often, Medina Sarote. You are the only one in this valley, in this world, that I care for. And so it began. I, the village idiot, the slave boy who dreamed to be king, I, with my eyes still whole, fell in love with Medina Sarote, the daughter of the elder of the village. Only to her could I open my heart without fear, and only to her could I speak of the beauty I could see around me. It is a beautiful valley, green with grass and yellow with sunlight, and flowers, bright flowers dotting the hills. And in the cool of night, the stars gleam like diamonds in the sky.
Oh, the words sound lovely. But what are stars?
Stars? Why, they are... But no. No, you wouldn't understand.
And what do you mean, in the cool of the night? You still get that confused one. The night is warm, the day is cool.
No, it is you here who have them backwards. Because the darkness means nothing to you. You work in the cool of night and sleep in the heat of day.
You are teasing me.
Oh, no. I'm... Oh, what does it matter? All that matters is you. You here beside me. Medina Sarote, I love you.
And I love you.
I know they still think me an idiot, but you listen to what I say, and you don't think me an idiot, do you?
No, I like to hear you speak.
Then, would you marry me?
I would be very happy.
No, I will not have it.
But, Father...
He's an idiot. He has delusions. He cannot do anything right.
But he's getting better. He's better than he was. And he is strong and kind. Stronger and kinder than anyone in the world. And he loves me. And I love him.
No, I will not have it.
Great sire, if you please.
Yes? What is it, good doctor?
I have examined Bogota, and the case is clear to me. I think very probably he might be cured.
And how might that be done?
His brain is affected by something. I believe I know what it is. Those queer things he calls eyes. Where we have but an agreeable depression, he has great lumps. Consequently, his brain is in a constant state of irritation.
But what can be done to cure him?
Oh, it's a very simple surgical operation. Remove the cause of the irritation. We will merely cut out his eyes.
But they say it will make you well.
But you don't understand, Medina Sarote. My world is sight. You would not want me to lose my most valued possession.
I do not know.
There are so many beautiful things to see. The flowers, the far sky with its drifting clouds, the sunset, the stars, you. Why, just to see you, it is good to have sight, and I would never see you again.
I wish sometimes you would not talk like that.
Like what?
I know it's your imagination. I love it. But now...
Now? You want me to... Oh, Medina Sarote. If I were to consent to this...
Oh, if you would. If only you would.
What else can I do?
Oh, my dearest one. My dearest with a tender voice. I will repay you.
Oh, Medina.
Be brave. Carry my voice in your thoughts. Now I must go. And tomorrow...
Yes?
Tomorrow will be forever.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Medina. I suppose I knew it then, when I said that. I only meant to go up on the rocks and look out over the valley, to spend my last day feasting my eyes on the wonderful, beautiful world of light and color. But when I got there, it was too beautiful, too lovely, this valley, this home of the mountain gods. Beautiful and forbidden. I drank it in, the green of the fields, the blue of the gently curving stream, the orange of the lichen in the rocky crevices. I climbed higher to see the great snow-capped peaks towering above and away to the distant sky, and higher still as the shadows turned the snow to purple and crimson and deep blue. The valley was far below now, and as beautiful as a painting. But like a painting, it looked unreal. Medina Sarote was small and far away, a distant dream. And the world of sight was here, all around me, overpowering, wonderful. I turned and began to climb up that sheer rock wall. How many months it took me to make my way out over those mountains, over glaciers and snowfields and sheer precipices, I cannot guess. How I lived through the cold and hunger of it, I cannot tell you. But I'm here at last, back from the country of the blind.
Good heavens, man. What an experience.
Terrible and wonderful.
But you aren't sorry you came back?
Sorry? I see her face clearly now. It is the only thing I see.
Nunez, come, you need food. Here, take my hand.
Thank you. Where is it, Senor Ibar?
Nunez, you are?
Yes. The god of the mountains has had this revenge. Those months of crawling over the snow and ice with the sun glaring down. Yes, I am blind.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald, and tonight brought you The Country of the Blind by H.G. Wells, adapted for radio by John Dunkel, and featuring Paul Frees as Nunez, Barry Kroger as Ibarra, and Peggy Weber as Medina Sarote, with Wilms Herbert as Correa and Byron Kane as Pedro. Music was conceived by Cy Feuer, with Ivan Ditmars at the organ. Next week.
You are spurring a lathered horse through the darkened streets, trapped between two hostile armies with a bit of magic in your pocket, and the American Revolution in the balance.
Next week, we escape with Stephen Vincent Benet's delightful fantasy, A Tooth, for Paul Revere. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Fed up with the everyday grind? Tired out from the summer heat? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are spurring a lathered horse through darkened streets, trapped by two hostile armies, with a kit of magic in your pocket, and the American Revolution in the balance.
Tonight, we escape to an earlier day and to the workshop of a famous wizard, as Stephen Vincent Benet told it in his delightful story, A Tooth for Paul Revere.
Some say it all happened because of Hancock and Adams, and some put it back to the Stamp Act and before. Then there's some that hold out for Paul Revere and his little silver box. But the way I heard it, the American Revolution broke out because of Lige Butterwick and his tooth. My great-aunt was a Butterwick, and I heard it from her. Every now and then she'd write it out and want to get it put in the history books, but they'd always put her off with some trifling sort of excuse. But the way she told it to us kids, sitting there before the flickering fire on some blustery, blowy night, it sounded spooky enough and wonderful enough to be as true as the Union.
History books, bah. You don't get the right of things from such. In the story of a nation, it's the queer corners that count. The tales that get whispered down through families. Now take Paul Revere, for instance. All most folks think about is his riding a horse, but he was a silversmith by trade, and there was a kind of magic in that hand of his. I could see just a little bit farther into the millstone than most folks, and in that little shop of his on those fateful nights, he sat over a miraculous flame and brewed the revolution in a silver teapot, and then he put it into a little silver box, no bigger'n this.
Yes, that's the way my great-aunt talked about Paul Revere, and the chills ran up our spines. But it takes all kinds to make a country, she used to say, and it isn't till the plain ones, like Lige Butterwick, get stirred up, that things really start to happen. Lige was just an ordinary sort of man, without special vision into a millstone. It might be a grand day in the history books, but for him it was just Tuesday, till he read about it in the papers. Folks could argue and fret about Boston tea parties and British warships in Boston Harbor and British soldiers in Boston streets. But Lige Butterwick just clucked his tongue and wondered how the corn might stand this year on his farm outside Lexington, Massachusetts. One day, Lige Butterwick woke up with a toothache. The hot salt pack and the tansy tea his wife fixed for him didn't seem to help much. On the third day, Mrs. Butterwick tied a string to the tooth, and Lige stood by the door.
You ready?
Uh-huh.
Well?
Marthy, when it came to the pinch, couldn't quite do it.
So, that's how Lige Butterwick came to ride into Lexington, Massachusetts that day. He just had to see somebody about that tooth. And when he got there, the town was in an uproar.
Hi. Lige Butterwick.
Eh? Oh, good day to you, neighbor Williams.
Lige, I didn't expect to see you here today.
It's my tooth.
Tooth? What do you mean?
Huh?
Oh? Isn't it exciting?
Exciting? The toothache?
No, you idiot. All this. Have you seen them yet?
Seen who?
Why, Hancock and Adams, of course. John Hancock and Sam Adams. They're at the Parson Clark's.
Only folks who come here to see was the barber. Figure he's the only one who can do something for my tooth.
You don't fool me, Lige. You're probably just as excited as I am. Have you cleaned your musket?
Musket? Why, it's 5 months, the hunting season yet.
That's where you're wrong, Lige. Looks like hunting season may be early this year. Huh? Keep your powder dry.
Huh?
And so Lige Butterwick came to Lexington, and it was a great day for the history books, and to him it was just Tuesday. And his tooth was jumping. He went to see the barber as the likeliest man he knew to pull a tooth. But the barber took one look at it and shook his head.
Now, I can pull her out all right, Lige, but she's got long roots and strong roots, and she's going to leave an awful gap when she's gone.
That's true.
Now, what you really need, though it's, of course, taking my business, one of these here artificial teeth to go there in the hole.
Artificial teeth?
Yeah.
Land of mercy, it's flying in the face of nature.
Nothing of the kind, Lige. Artificial teeth is all the go these days. Lexington ought to keep up with the times.
But
it would do me no good to see you with an artificial tooth. Yes, indeed it would.
it would do you good, but supposing I did want one, how in Tunket would I get it in Lexington?
Now, you just leave that all to me. You'll have to go into Boston, but I know just the man. Here, if I can find it. I had his prospectus here somewhere. Oh, yes, here. See here? This fella called Revere in Boston that fixes him, and they say he's a boss workman.
Revere?
Yes, now you just listen to this here. Whereas many persons were so unfortunate as to lose their foreteeth. That's you, Lige.
Oh, yeah.
To their great detriment, not only in looks, but in speaking, both in public and private. This is to inform all such that they can have them replaced by artificial ones.
I see.
That will look as well as the natural and answer to the end of speaking to all intents. Oh, yes, and then see, it goes on. His name. Yes, his name's right here. Paul Revere, goldsmith, near the head of Dr. Clark's wharf in Boston.
Sounds well enough, but what's it going to cost?
Oh, I know Revere. Comes through here pretty often, as a matter of fact.
Does?
Yes, and he's a decent fella, even if he is a pretty big bug in son's liberty. Now, you just mentioned my name.
Well, it's something I hadn't thought of, but in for penny, in for pound. Missed a day's work already, and that tooth's got to come out before I go stark staring mad. But what sort of man is this Revere, anyway?
Oh, he's a regular wizard. A regular wizard with his tools.
Wizard? I don't know about wizards, but if he can fix my tooth, I'll call him one.
So, Lige Butterwick got back on his horse and started for Boston. He rode through the busy, excited streets of Lexington, and when he came opposite the residence of Parson Clark, he saw a little crowd collected, men staring, so he stopped his horse for a moment and looked.
Mister, is that them?
Is it who, son?
Mr. Hancock and Mr. Adams, sir. There through the window. Tall, handsome man and the short man with a face like a bulldog.
I wouldn't know, son. They're strangers to me. Get up.
When he got to Boston, he began to feel queer. And it wasn't only his tooth. He hadn't been there for 4 years, and he'd expected to find it changed, but it wasn't that either. The sky was clear and beautiful, but Lige felt like there was thunder in the air. It was uncanny. And the people, there'd be little knots of them on the corners, but when you came up to them, they seemed to melt away. Or they'd look at you and stop talking. And then he came to the harbor. Out there in the port of Boston, riding black and grim with the British warships. He'd known they'd be there, of course, but it was different somehow, seeing them with their guns pointed in at the town. Suddenly he felt uncomfortable. Felt he'd like to turn and go home. But he was hungry, and so he went to a tavern for a bite.
Good day to you.
And what may I do for you, stranger?
Just a bite and a sup, if you're serving.
Aye. Have a seat. You'll be served.
Thank you. Nice weather we're having these days.
It's bitter weather for Boston.
Well, now, maybe for Boston, but out in the country, we'd call it good planting weather.
I guess maybe I was mistaken in you. It is good planting weather. For some kind of trees.
Trees. Well, now, I suppose you're right about that.
That's so. And what kind of trees would you be thinking of?
There's trees and trees, you know.
Now that you ask me,
You meant the Liberty Tree. And may it soon be watered in the blood of tyrants.
Now, the Royal Oak of England, and God save King George and loyalty!
At him, boys!
Wait, stop! I didn't mean... always heard city folks were crazy. But politics must be getting serious in these American colonies when they start fighting about trees.
Oh. Aye, and it is, friend.
So they threw you out, too?
Yes, blast them. But I want to shake your hand. Nobly done, friend. I'm glad to find another true-hearted man loyal to the crown in this pestilent, rebellious city.
Well, I don't know as I quite agree with you about that. But I came here to get my tooth fixed, not to talk about politics. And as long as you've spoken so pleasant, I wonder if you could help me out. You see, I'm from Lexington way, and I'm looking for a fellow named Paul Revere.
Paul Revere? No, so it's Paul Revere you want, my worthy and ingenious friend from the country. Well, I'll tell you how to find him.
Good, I thank you.
You go up to the first British soldier you see and ask the way, but you'd better give the password first.
Password?
Yes, you say to that British soldier, "Any lobsters for sale today?" And then you ask about Revere.
But why do I talk about lobsters first?
Well, you see, the British soldiers wear red coats, so they like being asked about lobsters.
Ah.
Just try it and see. Just try it, my friend, and see.
Hup, hup, hee, ho!
Pardon me, sir. Do you have any lobsters for sale today?
What? How dare you? Seize that man!
Barrel. Place to hide.
Down that way. Come on, Sergeant.
Huh?
You can come out now. They've gone past.
Oh. Oh, yes, thank you.
Nice sakes. Look at your clothes. That was a tar barrel you jumped into.
Yes, I'm a sight.
What were they chasing you for?
I really don't know. Guess I didn't give the right password.
Password?
Yes, but all the same, I don't think soldiers ought to act like that when you ask them a civil question. But city folks are soldiers. They can't make a fool out of me. I came here to get my tooth fixed and get it fixed at will if I have to surprise the whole British kingdom to do it.
Good for you, sir. Can I be of any help to you?
You can, boy. Tell me where I may find the silversmith, Paul Revere.
Oh, that's easy. Right before your eyes. There's a sign hanging down by the wharf, and that's his shop. I work there.
Well, now, those soldiers did me a good turn after all. Come on, boy. Now maybe I'll get my tooth fixed.
Then Lige Butterwick was in the shop of Paul Revere, silversmith, goldsmith, jack of all trades, sculpturer of artificial teeth, brewer of revolutions, wizard. The shop itself was small and dark, with mysterious shadows lurking in the corners and the back. It was crammed full of the wondrous products of its owner's skillful hand, gold and silver objects of great beauty, prints of Boston and caricatures of the British, art boxes and bottles filling the shelves. At this particular moment, it was also full of customers, and Lige Butterwick, with the cautious shyness of the countryman, sank back into a corner seat out of the way and watched as Paul Revere waited on several customers. And the last of these was a grand lady who looked like an irate turkey gobbler.
Oh, Master Revere, I am so disappointed. When I took the things from the box, I could just have cried.
It's I whom disappointed, madam. What was the trouble? Must have been carelessly packed. Was it badly dented?
No.
I'll speak to the boy.
No, it wasn't dented. But I wanted a really impressive silver service, something I can use when the governor comes to dine with us. I certainly paid for the best. And what have you given me?
I've given you the best work of which I'm capable, madam. It was in my hands for 6 months, and I think they're capable hands.
Oh, I know you were a competent artisan, Master Revere, but...
Silversmith, ma'am.
Well, I don't care what you call it. I know I wanted a real service, something I could show my friends. And what have you given me? Oh, it's silver if you choose, but it's just as plain as a picket fence.
Simple, plain. You pay me high compliments, madam.
Compliments indeed. I'll send it back tomorrow. Why, there isn't as much as a lion or a unicorn on the cream jug. And I told you I wanted the sugar bowl covered with silver grapes. But you've given me something as bare as the hills of New England, and I won't stand it, I tell you. I'll send to London instead.
Send away, madam. We're making new things in this country. New men, new silver, perhaps, who knows, a new nation. Plain, simple, bare as the hills and rocks of New England, graceful as the boughs of elm trees. If my silver were only like that indeed. That's what I wish to make it. As for you, madam, with your lions and unicorns and grape leaves and your nonsense of bad ornamentation done by bad silversmiths, your imported bad taste and your imported British manners, puff, away with you. Puff, puff, puff.
Why, never.
Puff, I say.
Oh.
William?
Yes, sir?
Put up the shutters. We're closing for the day. William, no word yet from Dr. Warren?
Not yet, sir.
Yeah, what's that? Well, who are you there in the corner?
Well, Mr. Revere, it is Mr. Revere, isn't it?
Yes, of course.
It's a kind of a long story, but closing or not, you got to listen to me. The barber told me so.
The barber?
You see, I'm Lige Butterwick, and it's my tooth. Here,
Tooth? You'd better begin at the beginning. But wait now. Here, you don't talk like a Boston man. Where'd you come from?
Oh, around Lexington way. And you
Lexington? Were you there this morning?
Well, of course I was. That's where the barber I
Never
told you
mind about the barber. Were Mr. Hancock and Mr. Adams still at Parson Clark's?
Well, they might have been, for all I know. But I couldn't say.
Great heaven, is there a man in the American colonies who don't know Mr. Hancock and Mr. Adams?
Oh, well, there seems to be me. But speaking of strangers, there was two of 'em staying at the parsonage when I rode past. One was a handsome man. The other man looked more like a bulldog.
So they are still there. And the British ready to march. Did you see many soldiers as you came to my shop, Mr. Butterwick?
See them. They chased me into a tar barrel. There was a whole parcel of 'em by the common with guns and flags. Looked as if they meant business.
Thank you, Mr. Butterwick. You're a shrewd observer. You've done me and the colonies an invaluable service.
Oh, that's nice to know. But speaking of this tooth...
You're a stubborn man, Mr. Butterwick. All the better. I like stubborn men. I wish we had more of them. Well, one good turn deserves another. You've helped me. I'll do my best for you. I've made artificial teeth, but drawing them is hardly my trade. All the same, let's have a look. Here, come over here by the light.
Aye.
And now, open.
Ah.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Butterwick, it appears to be compound agglutinated infraction of the upper molar.
Oh.
And I'm afraid I can't do anything about it tonight.
But
here's a draft that will ease the pain for a while. There. Drink.
It's spicy and queer.
Never mind. Now you go to a tavern, get a night's rest. Come back, see me in the morning. I'll find a truth drawer for you. If I'm here. Oh, yes, you'd best have some liniment.
It's a queer kind of shop you have here, Mr. Revere.
Some folks think so.
Say, what's in that little bottle?
Where? Oh, that. That's a little chemical experiment of mine. I call it Essence of Boston. But there's a good deal of the east wind in it.
Essence of Boston? Well, they did say you was a wizard. It's genuine magic, I suppose.
Genuine magic, of course. And here's the box with your liniment. No, not that one. This one.
Thank you. But that other little box there, the little silver one with the stars on it and the elm tree.
Oh, yes. You like it? Pick it up.
Mighty pretty work.
Thank you. My own design. 13 stars there. See 'em?
Uh-huh.
You could make a very pretty design with stars. For a new country, say. If you wanted to. I've sometimes thought of it.
But, what's in the box? It feels queer.
What's in it? What's in the air around us? Gunpowder, war, making of a new nation. But the time isn't ripe yet. Not quite ripe.
You mean that this here revolution that folks keep talking about?
Yes.
In this box? Glory be.
Master Revere, it's come. The message from Dr. Warren.
William, my riding boots. Now hurry, I must be off. Sorry, Mr. Butterwick, but I must rush. Take your liniment and come back tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, sir.
I'm back tomorrow. I'll help you.
Yes,
Good day, sir. Good day.
It wasn't till Lige Butterwick was alone in his room at the tavern where he was to stay the night that he realized what he had done. In the bustle and haste of leaving Mr. Revere's shop, he had picked up the wrong box. Instead of the box of liniment, he held in his hand the little silver box with the 13 stars upon it. He hadn't quite believed Mr. Revere when he talked about the box, but then everything had seemed so almighty queer since he'd arrived in Boston. And his tooth ached, and his head felt light, and he, being human, was curious. He looked for a keyhole, but there was none. The box wouldn't open. He shook it. Suddenly, it felt warm, as if there was something alive inside it. He held it to his ear.
Great Godfrey.
Now, Lige Butterwick was feeling scared, but he was feeling kind of good, too. And then he found out that he was talking to himself.
Well, I'm not a Britisher. I'm a New Englander. And maybe there's something beyond that. Something people like Hancock and Adams know about. And if it has to come with a revolution, well, I guess it has to come. Can't stay Britishers forever here in this country. But what am I going to do with this box? Too big a job for one man. Guess I'll have to take this back to Paul Revere.
First, he went to the little shop on Clark's Wharf, but it was closed up tight. And it was a while before he could rouse anyone. Then it was the boy William who opened the door.
Oh, it's you. Well, Master Revere isn't here.
But I've got to find him. Can you tell me where he's gone?
Why do you want to know?
Got something for him. He needs it.
You wouldn't be a spy for the British now, would you?
A spy? Me?
Well, then what is it you got for him?
This box. Little silver box. Took it by mistake. Think it's important.
The box? By the flag, it is important. But he's gone. Gone to warn the Patriots that the British are coming.
Which way, boy? Which way did he go?
Across the river, to Charlestown.
All right, thank you, boy. I'll be following.
No, you don't get any boats from me. There was a crazy man long here an hour ago, and he wanted a boat, too. My husband was crazy enough to take him. Do you know what he did?
No, ma'am.
He made my husband take my best petticoat to muffle the oars so they wouldn't splash when they passed that Britisher ship. My best petticoat, mind you.
Huh.
When my husband comes back, he's going to get a piece of my mind.
Was his name Paul Revere? Was he a man of 40-eyed, keen-looking, kind of Frenchy?
Don't know what his right name is, but his name's Mud with me. My best petticoat tore into strips and swimming in that nasty river.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll get a boat elsewhere.
Mr. Butterwick, sir, be careful. Your own is right under the stern of a British man-of-war.
Don't worry, I see it.
Please, Mr. Butterwick, shh.
Ahoy there!
What's up, Mr. Christian?
I guess not. Thought I heard a boat.
Be careful, Mr. Butterwick.
All right, boy.
Revere, he's been gone an hour.
Gone? Gone where?
Riding to Lexington to warn Hancock and Adams as soon as he spied the lights up there in the North Church.
I've got to catch him. It's this box. He's got to have it. Where can I get a horse?
Right over here. Come on.
Out through the darkened streets of Charlestown he rode, on into the black of the countryside. Once he got lost, but he found his way again and rode on. It was just dawn as he came in sight of Lexington, and the dew was glistening on the green of the April grass. But Lige Butterwick didn't notice the beauty of the dawn. The little silver box was hot now and burning in his pocket. And then suddenly he reined in his horse. For there on the road were two men carrying a trunk, and one of them was Paul Revere.
Well, Mr. Revere, say I'm on time for that little appointment about my tooth.
Well, it's you. You are a stubborn man, Mr. Butterwick.
I'll allow. But you've given me a merry chase all night.
I've had one myself. Been captured by the British once and escaped. Don't know what's still in store for me, but we're carrying a precious cargo here in this trunk. We're bringing to safety all the private papers of Mr. Hancock and Mr. Adams.
Which reminds me, I've something for you here.
What? A silver box. You've got the silver box.
By mistake, and it's getting frightfully hot in my hand.
Yes, my friend, and little wonder. Look across there, Lexington Green.
The green? Why, there's a line of Lexington men. And there across the creek, facing them, is a column of British redcoats.
Aye, lined up with guns they are, Mr. Butterwick. They've come to arrest Mr. Hancock and Mr. Adams, and the Minutemen stand before them.
Mr. Revere, I'm a peaceable man. I've had little notion of politics. But I don't like what I saw in Boston. I don't like soldiers chasing peaceable citizens into tar barrels or uppity ladies with imported British manners. And I don't like British redcoats on Lexington Green. That I don't.
Mr. Butterwick, what you doing?
I'm stamping on your silver box, Mr. Revere. I'm breaking it open.
Do you know what you've done? You've let out the American Revolution. Look, they've fired the first shots.
Well, I guess it's about time. And I guess I'd better be going now.
But, Mr. Butterwick, where are you going?
Home. Got a musket on the wall there. I'll be needing it.
But here, what about your tooth?
Oh, a tooth's just a tooth. But a country's a country. Anyhow, doesn't ache anymore.
Escape, produced and directed by Norman MacDonald, tonight brought you A Tooth for Paul Revere by Stephen Vincent Benet, adapted for radio by John Dunkel, and featuring Harry Bartell as Lige Butterwick, Parley Bear as Paul Revere, and Barry Kroger as the narrator. Special music by Ivan Ditmars. Next week,
you are deep in a fabulous cavern in a mountain, surrounded by a horde of angry natives from a lost world, held at the mercy of the most beautiful woman in the world, the terrible queen called She.
Next week, we escape with H. Rider Haggard's famous story, She. Good night, then, until the same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. This is CBS, where 99 million people gather every week, the Columbia Broadcasting System.